All right, Ebusia, for today is yet another beautiful day the Lord has given unto you and I. Memo akwa basonko ever possible multimedia. Need a coin so and any day you can win a channel is with YouTuber. The best also be able to share a video na mana kwewe. We show you like, comment, subscribe. We are no share content no. And also recommend the channel no ammonia be so any videos maybe I have media which are meeting Eddie Francis at you aka possible. Audio back we are drop. Na me person say wadaje any coin so yenko tin say my audio.
That Asiedu Nketia has jetted off to Canada to be with his family in the heat of the confusion. I told you that he doesn't care. He's taking his decision. He's gone. He really doesn't care. Oh. He's chairman of the party. That's the decision he's taking. You work with it or you leave it. He's gone to Canada. You can please yourself. He'll be back. He's not going to go for long. He'll be back. By the time the parliament resumes, he will be here. He's a member of the Parliamentary Service Board appointed by
some PTV
very weird decision. If I'm sitting in the NDC leadership, and this is the time when all this issue about COVID expenditure, is playing out, where Auditor General's report is playing out. Look at the issues, national cathedral issues playing out and so on. What you do is you go and throw in this letter. Incredible. This letter is strange. I mean, to say the least, so very strange.
If you are a party serious in fighting and winning elections, you must put your best foot forward so that you can win the debate. You can't just go and be telling people that the economy is in shambles. The economy is in shambles when you are not able to put your experts there to be able to communicate to Ghanaians how you do things better.
It gets worse.
Okay.
And when this statement had been released and the backlash started unfolding, now we started hearing reasons why this was done.
Okay.
Oh no, boy.
The 2024 election is going to be fought around the economy. So the debate basically is going to be about the economy. You know it and I know it.
Oh no, boy.
The truth of the matter is that the 2024 election is going to be fought around the economy.
Okay, if that is the case, then perhaps we need the most qualified economist to lead the pack. If it's about your academic qualification and so on, is Atufosin the most qualified economist in Parliament?
The 2024 election is going to be fought around the economy.
And I'm not exaggerating. I spoke to about 10 members of Parliament from the minority side. None of them knew that this was going to happen.
All right, no, that's sorry, that was a little mistake at the beginning. Sorry about that. But that's just a montage. Okay, let's continue with the stories now. Now, more fallout. So we are looking at all the fallouts from the decision of the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, led by Asiedu Nketia, to make some changes in Parliament. Now, here's Alhassan Suhuyini, Member of Parliament for Tamale North. And he's writing on his social media platform, and I want to walk you through what he says. So it starts as follows. Next time, please put Suhini's photograph there. He says, like life, death and taxes, change is the other constant. Therefore, I'm not against constructive changes born out of an exhaustive consultation process involving key stakeholders of the party to our front bench as a minority group. Clearly, he says, however, that is not what has happened, no matter how well-intentioned it may be. Worst of all, whoever is advising the strategy of the proposed new leaders is feeding into a normal human extreme greed and selfishness, perhaps because those people are unable to untame their greed too. This is heavy from Suhuyini. The second paragraph, let's look at it again. He says, clearly, that is not what has happened, no matter how well-intentioned it may be, full stop. Worst of all, he continues, whoever is advising the strategy of the proposed new leaders is himself feeding into a normal human extreme greed and selfishness. Well, Suhuyini, human extreme greed and selfishness is not normal. So, Alaji, please don't say this. It's not normal. The things you are saying, human extreme greed and selfishness cannot be normal. It's not normal. So, well, let me read it again. It's feeding into a human extreme greed and selfishness, perhaps, he says, because those people are unable to untame their greed too. So he's identifying two groups of greedy people: those who are making the decision, supporting the decision with strategy, and those who are themselves implementers of the decision. He's identifying both groups as greedy. Well, we don't know. Continue. He says, given the composition of our caucus as against our opponents and the expectation of what we can achieve together and the reality of what we cannot, even if we are together, it will take extreme greed and selfishness to want to lead this NDC caucus at all costs at this time, without a toss about long-term consequences on the caucus and the party. So he is angry. He says, I wonder why it seems people think they can intimidate the entire caucus into submitting to an authority we consider inappropriately constituted. Some may, he says, but not majority of us. And it's not personal, it's conviction. It is principled. Wow. Viewers, wow. It hasn't ended. So, Lawyer Egbenya then comes up and says, some good points raised, Honorable, speaking to Suhin. He said, I'm just wondering, how does the current mode of changing the leadership differ from those of the past, especially the one that brought the outgoing leaders into office? So he promptly replies. He says, Lawyer Egbenya, I will tell you, regional caucuses were made to vote. General Mosquito was the elected commissioner, and Honorable Ernest Nogbe was the returning officer in the DF Annan Auditorium of Parliament. That's how we settled on the current leaders. Fantastic. Comes back to my point about Ofusu Ampofo's leadership, General Mosquito's leadership. Apparently, we are now finding out, we are not part of the caucus, so we don't know. But Hassan Suhin is telling us, and we believe him. Now, he's saying that in the first instance, in the 4th January 2021 that Sam George referred to, this is what happened. Regional caucuses were made to vote that he, General Mosquito, the one who is taking unilateral decisions today, the one who is taking undemocratic decisions today, he, General Mosquito, he was the electoral commissioner for that process. And Honorable Ernest Nogbe was the returning officer at the DF Annan Auditorium where votes were cast. Regional representatives were made to cast ballots to determine whether Idrisu Haruna will be the leader, whether Aveji will be the deputy leader, whether Mubarak Muntaka will be the whip. All of that decision was made. Put back the photograph of Ofusu Ampofu and General Mosquito, and let me make the point. It feeds into that same point. That's the leadership of Ofusu Ampofu, which the NDC have gladly rejected. And this is the leadership of Johnson Asiedu Nketia, which the NDC have elected. That's the story. What is happening is just a difference in leadership style. It's just a difference in one person's perception of what democracy and consultation should be, and another person's perception of what unilateralism should be and what it can achieve. One text message is telling us that Johnson Asiedu Nketia has jetted off to Canada to be with his family in the heat of the confusion. I told you that he doesn't care. He's taking his decision. He's gone. He really doesn't care. He's chairman of the party. That's the decision he's taking. You work with it or you leave it. He's gone to Canada. You can please yourself. He'll be back. He's not going to go for long. He'll be back. By the time the parliament resumes, he will be here. He's a member of the Parliamentary Service Board appointed by Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagby, the speaker. So Johnson Asiedu Nketia will come and take his seat when the parliament resumes. But now he's in Canada, they say. He doesn't care. But that's the kind of leadership that has been elected. And that's the leadership that we had complained about before. This is the leadership that has been rejected today. And these MPs are writing it out and saying it out, and they are beginning to understand what some of us understood a very long time ago. There's another conversation that we want to send you to before we go back to the text messages, and please get ready. This is another conversation by two people on social media that we picked. Now, we looked at a lot, so we decided to do a segment on reactions on social media. We decided to do that, so all of us were looking, and then we selected those that we think are useful for our viewers. Now, here it is. Dela Kofi is always feeling thoughtful, and he says, oh yes, while the change may appear to have been effected with abnormality, a new minority leadership in parliament has emerged. Denial of the obvious, he says, is more like watching kids deny they ate the chocolate whilst having chocolate smoothed all over their faces. In actual fact, he says, the deed is done, which is why folks need to accept the decision in good faith and rally around the new leader. Good afternoon, good people, and he's full of laughter. Dela Kofi. We don't know whether he's being sarcastic or whether he's being real, because Dela Kofi is an opponent of the NDC establishment. Okay, somebody then writes to him as follows. We'll go through it quickly. It says, Dear Dela Kofi, sorry, but what were the reasons given for the changes again? The NDC needs someone with an economic background to lead their front line in parliament? Question. Even if that was the case, how can any sensible person wake up and write a letter to parliament making changes to the leadership of MP's caucus without prior consultation? And people are defending this sordid, selfish, self-seeking, egotistic behavior of Johnson, Asiedu, Nketia and his team. We didn't use those words. An NDC person writing on social media. He says, let's go through it again. Where is it? Making changes. He says, people defending this sordid, selfish, self-seeking, egotistic behavior of Asiedu Nketia and his team. This behavior of Asiedu Nketia, he said, is not only an affront to the representative democracy, it also reinforces the views that MPs' roles has increasingly become absorbed by political party interest. It goes on. The primary duty of an MP is representation and not communicating economic theories drawn from books, which barely have any use for our current economic challenges, he says. The second duty is to make laws, which is why the NDC needs a legal person in their front line at the plenary. What the leadership of the party has done is dangerous, he says. Both parties have close numbers in parliament, and if any of the parties, when it comes to decision making in parliament, whether caucus formation or electing leaders, has always been informed by an established political history. This is why in advanced democracies such as the US, it can take several hours, days of ballot casting among colleague MPs to elect leaders of their party. He's talking about the recent fight for the Speaker of the House of Congress in America, which took 10 days of different rounds of voting. The statement goes on. Clearly, he says, it is safe to say that Asiedu Nketia desperately wanted to become party chairman because of this sort of vindictive behavior. Ever since that latter-day boy called Sami Jemfi, no, that's not my word, those are not our words. Ever since Sami Jemfi made those disparaging and disrespectful comments about Haruna, Muntaka, and Bagbin, they have always thought of ways to get rid of them. This is one of the reasons why Asiedu Nketia changed his role in the party, because Mahama himself has become a tool for manipulation. He can't even see the things that could potentially affect his own ambition. If the NDC's view is that the economy is crucial going into 2024, parliamentary leadership cannot be used to achieve that objective. The party needs structure outside parliament that can do research and communicate units, and a communication unit that can solely deal with that. Until recently, how many people even followed the activities of parliament? It is because of their controversies due to the closeness of their numbers that made people follow parliament in recent times. If the party is concerned about its policy communication, they must put structures in place to deal with that and not rely on parliament, because their duties are already explicit. Excuse me to say, the justification for these changes are, well, that he puts a word that we cannot repeat here. It's now half an hour past 10 o'clock in the night. This is Good Evening Ghana, and it's live. Okay, I was looking for a song. I don't know whether they have it. Did they have it? Please ask them whether they have it. It's an NDC rally song that I asked the producer to put together. If they have it, I'll just play it back. If they don't, I'll go through the 60 people who have signed their petition. Okay, so they have it now. It's ready now. This is one of the election events that I covered for the NDC in 2012. And it was a big rally, and I always use it in most of our documentaries. And on a night like this, when we are talking about the difficulties with Johnson, Asiedu, Nketia, and the new leadership of the NDC, I think that is okay to give my NDC friends some high morale. Remember this rally. Here it is.
Atami cho mama NDC double what I say? Yebeko Atami cho mama NDC double Atami say NDC double cho mama NDC Atami say NDC double cho mama NDC Atami say NDC double cho mama NDC First lady Lord in NDC double cho mama NDC Ayazu mutia obianya di ata miskaye hu cho mama nie emesa ata nie ata.
I like the part that he says that Lodina Mahama Soka Atamos NDC double yezu yeza Atamuse NDC double Jomama NDC double Lodina Mahama NDC double Jomama NDC double Asiedu Nketia NDC double Fifi Kwete NDC double yes Sam George and I was in Commonwealth. You remember that? Yeah, we did that a lot. Play that drama for me again. I just love that day I was at the rally and I said this is something to behold. That again, have a look.
Yezu sana yekam yebeko Yezu yo yeza atami cho mama NDC double Yezu what I say yebeko Yezu Atami cho mama NDC double Yezu Atami say NDC double cho mama NDC Atami say NDC double cho mama NDC Atami say NDC double cho mama NDC First lady Lord in NDC double cho mama NDC Ayazu mutia obianya di ata miskaye hu cho mama nie emesa ata nie ata.
May Professor Mills rest in eternal peace. That was a rally from 20